As you probably know already, preparation can make a big difference in your score in the IELTS test. But preparation can help so much in part 2 of the IELTS speaking test. In the previous video, I explained that you should be firstly focusing on ideas and then vocabulary when you're in the test. So, in your preparation time, you should be gradually building up your ideas and vocabulary that relates to the different categories of part 2 in the test. One way you can do this is to have a whole notebook dedicated to this part of the test. The more ideas you have before you go into the test, the more likely one of your ideas will match the task the examiner gives you. The first step is to think of as many specific ideas as you can to fit each category. If we have a quick look at the categories, if you remember, it was person, place, activity, object, event, and favourite. We could start off with 3 ideas for each category, but remembering that this is just the start of your preparation. You should have quite different ideas, and they should show a bit of variety so you are more likely to be able to connect one of them to the task you're given in the test. What we'll do now is look at a few examples of ideas for each of the categories. Now, these are my own personal ideas, but of course you can use them to help you come up with your own ideas. Let's start with thinking about person. Now, if I had to come up with ideas for people to describe, then maybe firstly I would think of someone in my family. The example I've got here is my dad, my father. Now, of course, I'll start by writing him down in my notebook and thinking of as many ideas and phrases and vocabulary as I can and writing them down. Then maybe I would think about a close friend. In this case, it's someone called Ross. But of course, you can think of your own close friend to write down ideas about. And then finally, for a bit more variety, I could think of someone I admire. In my case, it would be Roger Federer. But of course, in your case, it might be someone different. So now I've got 3 ideas for people I can describe. And of course, I'll be building on those ideas later. Then I can move on to place. Now, I'd firstly choose a place that I visited in the past. And in my case, it's Kenya. Then I could think about a place I want to visit in the future. And here the example is Japan. And then finally, I could think of a place that I often go, my workplace. So there, I've got 3 separate ideas with a bit of variety on place. Then I can move on to ideas for activity. Now, firstly, I could think of an activity I did in the past, but I don't do anymore, and that's fishing for me. But of course, for you, it might be a different activity. Then I could think about an activity I'd like to do in the future. And for me, it's cycling. And then finally, I could think of an activity that I do regularly, which in my case is swimming. So now I've got 3 ideas for the category of activity, which I can build on later. Then I can move on to object. Now, first of all, I could think of a present I received as a child. And in my case, it's a pair of football boots. Then I could also think of a present I've given to someone. And here it's an engraved bracelet that I gave to my mother. And then finally, I could think of something I want to own in the future. And in my case, it's a sports car. So now I've got 3 ideas for the category of object. Then I can move on to the category of event. Now maybe firstly, I could think of a significant event in my life, which could be my wedding day. Then I can move on to a fun event I went to with friends. And in this case, it's a 3-day music festival. And then finally, I could think of a family celebration. And in my case, it would be last Christmas that I spent with my family. So there we go. That's 3 ideas for the category of event. And then finally, I can move on to the category of favourite. Now here I could think of my favourite TV series, and then maybe my favourite food, and finally a favourite website. So there we have it, 3 more ideas for favourite. So now we've got 3 ideas for each of the 6 categories. And these ideas should have their own page in your notebook. The main idea can be expanded on, and you can write further ideas connected to it and vocabulary you can use when speaking about it. This is partly to clarify ideas in your own head and also to build vocabulary. You need to spend as much time as you can adding more to the notebook. The more ideas and vocabulary you have, the better prepared you'll be on the day of the test. There are many, many ways in which you can research words and phrases for your ideas that I will explain in later videos. But for now, we've finished looking at building ideas and vocabulary in a notebook to build your preparation for the IELTS speaking test, and specifically part 2. So if you found this video helpful, then please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching, and see you again in the next video.